Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Robert Young stars in a radio episode of Father Knows Best, going back to June 21st, 1951, and it seems Margaret wants Jim to teach her how to drive. We all know how well that works.
Mother, is Maxwell House really the only coffee in the world?
Well, your father says so, and your father knows best.
Yes, it's Father Knows Best, transcribed in Hollywood, starring Robert Young as father. A half-hour visit with your neighbors, the Andersons, brought to you by America's favorite coffee, Maxwell House. The coffee that's always good to the last drop. It's morning in Springfield, the morning of June 21st, and a day long to be remembered in the minds and memories of the family known as Anderson. As with most things that occur in the white frame house on Maple Street, the situation is approached by way of Hindustan and the East Siberian archipelago. But in the Anderson household, June 21st will always be remembered as the day we taught Mother to drive. Like this.
Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning, dear. My, but you look chipper this morning.
Why shouldn't I? I'm young, handsome, talented. And you lucky woman, you've got me.
Jim Anderson, did you put something in your mouthwash?
Today, nothing can faze me. I'll climb mountains, swim oceans, scale the sides of mighty precipices.
Jim, please put me down.
You know, it's hard to say precipices.
Jim.
I like it. Precipices.
Jim, you've got to put me down.
Will not.
Bud's coming.
Well, let him get his own women.
All right, I'll...
Honey, you know how you can get down.
Oh, dear, if you're going to be a spoiled baby.
Hiya, Mom. Hiya, Dad. Kissing Mom, huh, Dad? Well, you sure got a nice day for it.
Margaret,
Yes, dear.
may I please have my coffee?
Of course.
Dad,
You keep quiet and eat your breakfast.
now what did I do?
Nothing. Just eat your breakfast.
There you are, dear. Nice hot coffee.
Thank you.
The girls ought to be down any minute. I'd better get started with the eggs.
Okay, honey. You sure got a nice day for it.
Dad,
But I just finished telling you,
but I have to ask you something.
if it's about a gasoline scooter, the answer is still no.
Well, it isn't exactly about a gasoline scooter. It's about highway safety.
Oh, what about it?
Well, if you have to talk about it or anything, what's a good thing to say?
Well, there are all sorts of things to be said about the highway safety program. It outlines a common sense method of preventing accidents and saving lives. It promotes... Bud, why are you suddenly interested in the highway safety movement?
Why?
Not that I have any objections, of course. I think it's a very good idea. I just want to know why.
Well, they're having a sort of a contest, sort of.
About highway safety?
You have to write 300 words on what highway safety means to me and my community. And if you win, you get a prize.
You are going to write 300 words without a gun at the back of your head?
Well, I mean, highway safety is something everybody's in favor of. And like you said, it helps to save lives and make the road safe for democracy and...
Bud, what's the prize?
The prize?
What are they giving away?
A gasoline scooter.
I see.
But I wasn't even thinking about that, Dad.
I'll bet you weren't.
I was thinking of the good I can do for my fellow citizens and prosperity.
Posterity.
You bet. And if I can do things like that, well, gosh.
Please pass the cream and sugar.
I'd sort of be killing two birds with one gasoline scooter.
That's what I'm afraid of. Now, may I please have the cream and sugar?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mother. Good morning, Father. Hi,
Good
Bud.
morning,
Hi,
Princess.
Betty.
Drink your orange juice, Betty. I'll have some scrambled eggs ready in a minute.
Okay. Shove over, Bud.
Why can't you sit on the other side?
Go ahead, Bud. Move over and stop arguing.
What a day.
What's the matter with you this morning?
Oh, that Janie Liggett. What a friend she turned out to be.
Yesterday I sat over there and she still made me shove over.
What's the matter with Janie Liggett?
You can't count on her for anything. We were going to wash our hair together today, and she can't do it. Just because her aunt's in town. What an excuse.
It's no wonder my pants wear out. All I do is shove over.
Now I've got nothing to do all day, but absolutely nothing.
Well, suppose you pass the toast. That'll take up some of your loose time.
Father, it isn't funny. Here's the toast.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How would you like to have a day staring you in the face and have absolutely nothing to do?
I'd love it.
Heck, it's only about 2 pages.
What is?
300 words. I figured it out.
Oh, we're back on that again.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
Hi,
Kathy.
Knothead. Golly, am I going to have fun today. Patty Davis and I are going snail hunting. Kathy. Then we're going to pour salt on them and watch them go squish. Ew.
Kitten, not at the table.
Oh, no, Daddy. Out in back of the garage.
That'll be quite enough of that silly talk, Angel. Drink your orange juice.
Yes, Mommy.
Well, scrambled eggs and sausage.
Don't touch the plate, Jim. It's very hot.
I'll be careful.
Go ahead, children. Help yourselves.
I'll bet nobody knows what today is. It's Thursday, smarty pants.
Bud, leave some of the sausages for somebody else.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
It's the first day of summer. That's what it is.
June 21st. By golly, she's right. The first day of summer. What do you know? May I please have the butter?
Oh, dear.
What's the matter, honey? No butter?
I'd forgotten all about it.
Well, it isn't important.
Here's the butter, Father.
Thank you. Honey, what do you mean you forgot all about it?
I didn't mean the butter, Jim. I promise you won't be angry.
All right, I promise. Now, what am I not to be angry about?
Well, Jim, you know about the Gray Ladies, don't you?
You mean the Red Cross? Sure, what about them?
Well, they've arranged a whole series of dances for wounded veterans in Plainville.
Fine. See, I didn't get angry at all.
But I'm not finished.
Oh.
They needed volunteers to drive men from the Veterans Hospital in Springfield over to Plainville, you know. And, well, I said they could definitely have the use of our car.
I think it's a very good idea. And, honey, I'm surprised at you. Why should I be angry about a worthy cause like that?
Well, the dances are going to be held on Thursday nights.
That's even better. That's my bowling night, so I won't even need the car. Who's going to drive it?
I told them you would.
Oh, well. You what?
Now, Jim, you promised.
You said that I'd drive the car on Thursday?
Well, you said it was a worthy cause.
I've been bowling every Thursday night for 5 years, and what right did you have... Margaret,
Yes, dear.
as long as you gave your word, the Gray Ladies and the veterans will have the car. But we'll have one of the children drive it.
Jim.
They're both very excellent, careful drivers. And they'd love to take the veterans over to Plainville. Isn't that right?
I would, Father.
Me too.
Jim, you don't understand. The dances won't be over until midnight.
Well,
By the time they drive back from Plainville and get the men signed in at the hospital, it'll be after 2 o'clock. And I will not have either one of them running around at that time of the morning.
no, I suppose not. But wait a minute.
I don't ask you to do these things very often, and I certainly
Honey,
think...
I've got a great idea. Why don't you learn how to drive?
Jim Anderson, if you think I'm going to learn how to drive just so you can go and roll a silly ball at a bunch of sticks...
But, honey, everybody ought to know how to drive a car. Oughtn't they, kids?
You bet.
They sure ought.
I am not going to learn to drive.
I'll be glad to, Daddy.
Honey, there's really nothing to it. You'll go to a driving school, take a few lessons, and the first thing you know, you'll be tooling along the road like Barney Oldfield.
I am not going to drive a car.
But, honey...
I'll be glad to, Daddy.
Margaret, it's as much for your sake as anyone else's. Why, if you knew how to drive, you'd be absolutely independent of anybody.
Jim, I don't think I ought to drive a car.
I'll be glad to, Daddy.
Gosh, Mom, there isn't anything to driving a car. Honest, there isn't.
Once you get the hang of it, it's as easy as shooting fish with a barrel.
In a barrel.
That's what I said.
The way they build cars today, a 6-year-old child can drive one.
I'm 9.
Why don't you think it over, honey?
And I'm going to be 10.
You won't be if you don't keep still.
I didn't do anything.
How about it, honey? Will you give it a try?
It'll be lots of fun, Mother.
Jim, I'm too old.
Old? Why, Margaret, you're a mere babe.
Hiya, babe. Joe Phillips' mother is older than you are, and she drives.
There you are, honey. If that beetle brain...
Jim?
If she can drive, anybody can.
I'll be glad to, Daddy.
Of course, I did learn to use my washing machine.
You see? And how about the mangle? If you can steer a shirt through one of those, you can certainly steer a car through a simple thing like traffic.
I never thought of it like that.
What does steering a shirt have to
You
do
finish
with...
your breakfast and leave this to me.
Holy cow. Now you can't even talk.
How about it, Mother? Will you try?
Well, all right.
Oh, that's swell.
But on one condition. You've got to teach me.
Margaret, they've got very good schools for that. And they use their own cars.
It's okay, Dad. We can teach her.
Of course we can, Father.
Honey, it isn't a good idea for a man to teach his own wife.
But if we all pitched in, Dad,
Creepers, it'd give us something to do.
and then I could write an article on highway safety.
What can I do?
You
Jim?
finish your breakfast.
Yes, Daddy.
Now look, honey.
Jim, I think I'm being very fair about the whole thing. If you'll try to teach me, I'll try to learn.
Okay.
And if I learn in time for the first veterans dance, you won't have to bother driving them at all. That's fair, isn't it?
All right, Margaret. When is the first dance?
Tonight.
Well... When?
Didn't I tell you? I could have sworn I did.
Wait a minute. You want me to teach you to drive a car in one day?
Well, I learned to use the washing machine in one day.
Honey, it's impossible. Nobody can teach you to drive a car in one day.
Well, maybe not an ordinary day, but you forget that today is the 21st of June.
What's that got to do with it?
Why, Jim, it's the longest day of the year.
June 21st, 1951, Father Knows Best, starring Robert Young on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of Father Knows Best, June 21st, 1951.
Count that day lost whose low descending sun views from my hand no worthy action done. Well, the sun is neither low nor descending, so a lot of time remains for Jim Anderson to do his good deed for the day. Strangely, though, it isn't working out quite the way he had planned. Like this.
I never said we were all going to teach your mother to drive.
Why, Father?
Jim, if the children want to come along.
It's going to be tough enough teaching you to drive without having a backseat full of assistants.
I won't say anything, Daddy.
Gosh, Dad, if your own father won't help you learn about highway safety...
Bud, I don't care if you do win the prize. You may not go tootling around the streets on a gasoline scooter. Is that understood?
Even if I buy my own gasoline?
Even if you come up with your own oil well. Now, let's not discuss it any further.
Dear, we've already wasted a half hour. And if I'm going to learn today...
Honey, this whole thing is ridiculous.
Why, Jim!
You can't take one lesson and then chauffeur a bunch of wounded vets. Don't you think they've gone through enough?
You might not believe this, Jim, but my grandmother Williams said that I learned how to use a sewing machine faster than anyone she's ever known.
Honey, people don't just get into a car and drive. No matter how brilliantly they can use a sewing machine.
Maybe she's a mechanical genius, Father.
Oh, sure.
I might be.
They've got a second prize, too.
Mommy looks like she knows how to drive.
What if I just try to win the second prize?
Bud.
That wouldn't be bad, would it?
What is the second prize?
That's a gasoline scooter, too.
Oh, give me strength.
Father, if you don't let us come along, we won't have anything to do.
But we're not going anywhere. We're just going to drive up and down Maple Street.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Kathy.
She's absolutely right, dear. The sooner we get started, the sooner we'll be finished.
All right. Let's go.
Golly, this is going to be fun.
What do I do first, Jim?
Well, this part is comparatively simple. You get in.
Oh.
Then on the other side, honey, you're going to drive, remember?
Of course. How silly of me.
It just isn't deluxe, that's all.
What is it?
The second prize.
Bud, why don't you keep still?
I've got as much right to talk as you have.
Can't we take a ride in the country, Daddy?
Is everybody all set?
You bet, Dad.
Hattie Davis's father took her for a ride in the country, and I want to see the wildflowers, too.
I'll be glad to see Maple Street again. All right, honey, let's go.
Where, dear?
Start the motor.
How do I do that?
Margaret, you've been sitting next to me for 18 years, and you mean to say you don't even know how to start the motor?
Well, I had so much confidence in you, dear, I guess I never noticed.
Now, this is going to be fine.
Father, why don't you teach her how to shift gears first?
Betty, if you don't mind, I'll handle this in my own way.
I was just trying to help.
It's the same as the other one, but it doesn't have so much chrome on it.
Bud.
Yes, sir?
Keep still.
Yes, sir.
Me too, Daddy?
Yes, you too.
Yes, Daddy.
Now, if no one has any objections, I'll teach your mother how to shift gears.
Good.
Margaret,
Yes, dear.
the first thing you do is push down the clutch.
Oh? Which one is that?
Honey, it's not on the dashboard, it's on the floor.
And I push it down.
That's right, with your left foot.
Why, my left foot.
Because your right foot is busy with the accelerator.
When do I do that?
Margaret, if you'll only listen.
I'm sorry, dear. Go ahead.
Push the clutch down with your left foot.
Yes?
Now, raise the shift lever up and then pull it down.
Jim, you're joking.
I'm not joking.
But if I lift it up and then pull it down, it's right where it was in the beginning.
Margaret, you lift it up like this.
Yes?
Then you pull it toward you.
Oh?
Then you take your foot off the clutch.
I see.
Now it's in first.
If you start it in second, Dad, you get a quicker getaway.
Wait a minute. You start this car in second?
Well, the fellas all say that it doesn't hurt anything.
But if I ever find you starting this car in second, so help me, you'll never drive it again.
Well, I was only, holy cow.
You and your big mouth.
I'm not hurting you any, am I?
Keep quiet back there, all of you.
I didn't say anything, Daddy.
Good. Now,
I've been very quiet.
I know. Now the next...
I haven't said anything for practically 5 minutes.
Kathy, will you please keep still?
Yes, Daddy.
Margaret?
Yes, dear.
To shift from low to second,
How do I get it in low?
then low.
I thought that was first.
It is first.
Jim, really?
They're the same thing, Mother.
Oh. Well, it's certainly a nice thing to know.
Honey, push the clutch down again.
Yeah?
The other one, Margaret, that's the brake.
But I'm pushing it with my left foot.
It's still the brake. You're supposed to push that with your right foot.
Well, if you're going to make everything so complicated.
I'm not making it complicated. Just push down the clutch with your left foot.
Jim, you needn't raise your voice. I can hear you.
I'm sorry, honey. Please push down the clutch.
All right, dear. There.
Now, push the shift lever straight up as far as it will go. And release the clutch again.
Like that?
That's right.
Well, that wasn't hard at all, was it?
Oh, no, it was fine. Now...
You mean there's more?
Push the clutch in again.
Jim, you're making this all up.
No, he isn't, Mother.
Well, it certainly sounds silly to me.
Margaret, you push the clutch in.
Yeah.
And you pull the shift lever straight down.
Like, that's what I did before.
No, honey, this time you don't lift it up before you pull it down.
I just pull it down.
Right.
There.
Now, release the clutch, and you're in high.
Now what do I do?
That's it. All you have to do now is steer.
Well, it's really very simple, isn't it?
Yes, dear, it's very simple.
Now, let's all go back into the house and...
Honey, we've only just begun.
You said all I had to do was steer, and I certainly know how to do that.
Margaret, just to humor me, let's try doing it once with the motor running.
All right, Jim, but it seems like an awful waste of time.
Turn on the ignition.
The what?
The key. Turn it on.
If you meant the key, you should have said the key.
No, wait a minute. I'll put it back in neutral. All right. Step on the starter.
With which foot?
It's that little button on the dashboard.
I've never seen you step on it.
It's just an expression, Mom.
You push it with your fingers. Which one?
Anyone.
June 21st, 1951. Father Knows Best on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion after these messages.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now the conclusion of Father Knows Best, June 21st, 1951.
I just wanted to know.
Go ahead, honey.
All right, dear. Well, this is getting easier all the time.
Now, put it in first.
All right, dear.
Put in the clutch!
That's right. There.
I don't know.
Why isn't it moving?
You have to let the clutch out. Push down on the gas pedal with your right foot and take your left foot off the clutch.
Like this.
Take it easy.
Now we're going.
Are you kids all right back there?
Yes, Daddy. We're all right, Father.
I think I swallowed my teeth.
Margaret, you're supposed to let the clutch out slowly.
Please don't bother me, dear. I'm busy steering.
All right, but you have to put it into second.
That's straight up, isn't it?
Yes, but don't forget... Honey, the clutch!
Oh, dear, why can't I ever remember?
Let it out slow.
Oh, there we are. Now what?
Put it in high, and...
I know, dear. The clutch.
Oh, my aching back.
Jim, I think you ought to have this car fixed. It makes just as much noise either way.
You've got to practice, Margaret. You can't learn it all in 1 minute.
I suppose not, but I think I steer very well, don't you?
Mom, you're supposed to be on the other side of the street.
I'll go over there presently.
Margaret.
Yes?
I think you'd better forget about driving the car tonight.
Oh, Jim, I think I'm doing very well.
She hasn't hit anything yet, Father.
Well, that's a great consolation. Honey, pull over to the curb and we'll try it again.
All right. How do I stop it?
You use the brake. The thing you were stepping on before.
With which foot?
The right foot.
What do I do with the left foot?
You leave it where it is. Step on the brake with your right foot and put your left hand out the window.
Jim, I can see from here it isn't raining.
Honey, you're supposed to signal to the cars in back that you're coming to a stop.
If they can't see that a big thing like the back of the car is stopping, how can they see my hand?
Betty, what was it you said about a mechanical genius?
I'm sorry, Father. I take the whole thing back.
Boy, have I got an angle on highway safety.
You mean from this?
You bet. When my mother's driving, everybody stay in the house.
But really...
Never mind, honey. You'll get it someday. Now, let's stop, shall we?
That's the right foot.
Yes, dear.
I don't see any
Honey,
reason...
the brake, not the gas.
But you said the right foot!
Put your foot on the brake!
You said the right foot, didn't you?
Come on, grab the emergency.
I'll get it, Dad.
Jim, will you please let go of the wheel? You're getting me all confused.
Oh, Margaret.
Wow.
Boy, was that ever close.
Daddy,
What is it, kitten?
how do you stop if there isn't any trees?
A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. That's what they say. Of course, I don't know exactly who said it, but I'm sure somebody did. And if they didn't, I'm going to. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Like this.
It's sure nice of you gray ladies to do this for us, ma'am.
Oh, it isn't anything, really.
Well, it isn't everybody who'd give up a whole evening just to drive a bunch of vets over to Plainville.
Well, we're very happy to do it. Aren't we, dear?
Yes, we're very happy.
There's a car coming out of that driveway, Jim.
Margaret, for 18 years you sat there and you didn't say a word. Now, all of a sudden...
Did you see that? He didn't even put his hand out.
Yes, sir. People got their own things to do, like playing cards or bowling, stuff like that.
Jim, we're coming to a signal.
Honey, for the love of Pete...
Don't forget to put your hand out for the stop, dear.
Oh...
Why, I can remember months when nobody even came near the hospital.
Don't get too close to the white line, dear.
Oh, I don't mean we didn't have anything to do or anything like that. But I remember
Join us again next week when we'll be back with Father Knows Best, starring Robert Young as Jim Anderson, with Roy Bargy and the Maxwell House Orchestra. In our cast were Rhoda Williams as Betty, June Whitley, Ted Donaldson, Norma Jean Nilsson, Ben Weldon, and yours truly, Bill Foreman. We've just had a lot of fun about how not to drive a car. But I'm sure we all know that driving an automobile is a serious responsibility. So let's be especially careful on our streets and highways this summer. Now until next Thursday, good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's favorite brand of coffee. Always good to the last drop. Father Knows Best was transcribed in Hollywood and written by Ed James.
From June 21st, 1951, Father Knows Best on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just 2 of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 4, the 5-part yours truly Johnny Dollar story, The Pearling Matter. This was originally broadcast June 21st, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Dave Pearling, Mr. Dollar. I want to talk to you.
Hello, Mr. Pearling.
Mr. Aimwell tells me you're in his office looking into my private affairs.
If investigating the matter I came here for involves your private affairs, I guess I did that.
I should be irritated, I suppose. And I guess I'm not. When can I see you?
Most any time. How about today?
I'll be at my house all day
long. Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Eastern Liability and Trust Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Pearling Matter. Item 9, 10 cents, one phone call to Morton Scottman advising him that Jeannie Pearling had been located in New Orleans by one of Aimwell's operatives. Mr. Scottman thought that over for a while and then assumed it would be in the best interests of Eastern Liability to make certain this was the truth. I told Mr. Scottman I intended to do just that. Item 10, $5, cab fare from the New Weston Hotel to the home of David Pearling.
Hi. Come on in.
The man who opened the door wasn't a servant. He wore a dark blue double-breasted suit. He smelled of cigars and bourbon, and private detectives stuck out all over him. He jammed a pudgy finger in the general direction of what later turned out to be the library, and I followed. The room we went into was empty, except for us. As far as I could see or hear, the rest of the house was empty, too. The man in the blue suit sat down on a leather sofa and pointed to a quart of bourbon that had just come out of a sack.
You must be this Dollar guy, huh?
Yeah.
Mr. Pearling will be along in a minute. He asked me to say hello to you. By the way, my name's Brad Copeland. I'm one of Niles' men. Niles Aimwell?
That's great. Where is Niles?
He's with Mr. Pearling. They'll be along. Sit down, relax. They said they thought it was about time for a little conference.
What for? The girl's been found, hasn't she?
Oh, sure. Now they gotta figure some other things out.
I'll bet.
You don't believe much of this, do you?
Nope.
Well, then I'll put it this way. I'm the guy who found Jeannie Pearling. How about it now?
Okay. Look, I got put on this thing because an insurance company executive thought Pearling might have had a false death report made on him to juggle some things in the stock market.
Oh, that story in the papers about Pearling dying, huh?
Yeah, Pearling paid to have that story printed, all right, but not for any stock market angles. He did it to try and scare up this daughter of his who scrammed away from home a year ago. Now, I found that hard to believe, even after I talked to Niles Aimwell and he told me the agency had been hired to find the girl a year ago. I suppose you're one of the men who's been looking.
Yeah, that's about it. No luck, either. And yesterday morning comes a phone call. I don't know who it is, tells me where she's living, what name she's using in New Orleans. I scram down there by plane and check it out. It's all true. So I come back here, and here I am. Conference.
You found her on a tip from somebody you don't know? Man or woman?
Always a man's voice. Wonderful, ain't it, what happens sometimes?
How does it look to you?
Like a sealed freight car full of nothing. That's the girl down there in UO, all right. I managed that. I picked up her prints and checked them with what we had to go on. But what's what, I don't know.
What's Aimwell going to do now?
That's why the conference. We see what we'll see. Relax.
I tried to do that, but I didn't do very well. Copeland settled to his bourbon, and I picked up and laid down a half a dozen magazines, smoked 2 cigarettes, paced up and down. Finally, I heard a door open somewhere, and Niles Aimwell and David Perling walked in the room. Then Aimwell motioned Copeland to his feet, and both of them left the room without a word. David Perling and I were alone.
How much do they pay you, Dollar?
Oh, I'm paid well enough. What's that got to do with it?
I was just curious, is all. You seem like a competent man. As a matter of fact, the most competent I've met, and that includes Mr. Aimwell and Mr. Copeland. By the way, I just fired them.
Really?
I don't think I need them anymore now that I know where Jeannie is.
Oh?
You've had an extraordinary interest in my affairs lately. I'm willing to bet that you won't leave me alone until you're satisfied about my daughter.
You'd be right.
I want Jeannie to come home. Here, where she belongs.
Why don't you go get her?
I think that might be difficult under the circumstances. I'm afraid she bears considerable rancor for myself and Mrs. Perling. Perhaps someone like you could, persuade her that it would be the best thing to do.
I go down to New Orleans and get her?
Exactly.
I was going anyway.
Oh? Why?
Well, offhand, you don't seem like the father who's happy to know that his daughter, whom he hasn't seen or heard from in a year, is alive and well. You haven't made a move to go and pick her up yourself. Also, she was found too soon and too fast after I got in on the picture.
You can stop right there. I'm sure I wouldn't even attempt to explain any of those things.
I didn't think you would. Or could. I'm on my way to New Orleans, Mr. Perling, to get your daughter. I think she'd be crazy if she came back here, but I'll take it up with her.
Do that.
I wonder if you'd like to try to explain something else for me.
What?
Why you were feeling me out a couple of minutes ago to see if I'd buy off.
Get out of here. Get out.
Why not? Expense account item 11, $113.15. Airfare, incidentals, New York to New Orleans, Louisiana. The temperature was exactly 28 degrees hotter when I landed. In the cab from the field, I peeled off my coat and loosened my tie and took off my hat. I walked into the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel that way. Everyone else seemed cool enough in linens and tropicals. Everyone except myself and a big blonde giant of a man leaning against the CNS ticket counter.
Boy, take Mr. Dollar to 511.
The giant smiled when he saw me and stuck out his hand.
Well, I'm certainly glad to see you. We thought you'd never get here. Hope you had a pleasant trip.
I was okay.
I know you're tired and hot and would like to wash up a little and refresh yourself, but the rest of the boys are headquartered in 810. They're mighty anxious to meet you. Mighty anxious. Us Delta cotton growers are going to make it or break it at this convention. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We sure are, aren't we?
As soon as you're cleaned up, you come right over. We have a drink, and I'll show you around the town.
Yeah, that'll be swell. 8:10?
8:10. About an hour?
About an hour.
I'll see you.
Hey, clerk.
Yes, sir?
How long have the Delta cotton growers been in town?
Delta cotton growers? Well, they had their convention last month, sir.
Who's registered in 810?
We have no 810, sir.
I'd done someone dirty. When he came over with a hand out in front, I was supposed to say, "You got the wrong fellow. My name's Dollar." But I made him play it out for a particular reason. He wanted to know who I was, and he didn't quite know. But then I wanted to know who he was, and I didn't quite know. I wanted to know him because of that .38 strapped under his left arm. It bulged out just enough to make me curious. By 7:30, I'd eaten dinner and found an address on Ursuline Street, the address where Jeannie Perling was living. The mailbox carried that name. It was one of those unpainted apartment houses in the French Quarter, full of heat and low-watt light bulbs. The girl who opened the door was a medium-sized blonde, and she wore a black dress. The girl I was looking for had coal black hair.
Yes?
How do you do? My name's Johnny Dollar. I came here to see Jeannie Perling.
Come in, please. You're a friend of Jean's?
In a way, I just came from New York.
You know her father, then?
Yes.
Oh. I'm Janice Floyd, Jean's roommate. This way. Careful, it's a little dark.
Sure. Maybe I had the feeling when I saw the black dress. But I knew I had it when Janice Floyd turned and led me through the two large rooms that made the apartment. I thought that was the end of it, but there was one more room. The blonde girl stood to one side so I could see in. The perspiration began to trickle down my face. I knew what was coming.
Here she is, Mr. Dollar.
She was there, all right. As lovely and as young and beautiful as the picture. There was a candle burning at her head and feet. And she was dead. I don't know how long I stood there in that dark room staring down at her. I think there were other people in there, too. Dark people, heads bowed, hands folded in front of them, all looking at her. How did it happen?
Leukemia. You know, didn't you know her very long?
No. No, as a matter of fact, Miss Floyd, I didn't ever know her. I certainly didn't know she was dead when I came here tonight. I hardly expected
She asked that it be this way. But who are you?
I'm an insurance investigator.
From her father?
Not exactly, no.
Oh, yes, I see it now. You aren't the first one who's been here looking for her. There have been others. Detectives and lawyers trying to get her to go back.
What?
If he'd loved her, if they'd loved her for just one unselfish moment, she would still be there. Well, Mr. Dollar, she's where her father can't bother her anymore. You tell him that when you go back to New York. Tell him he can stop hiring lawyers and detectives to find her. Now, get out.
Expense account item 13, $5, the usual charge in any city for having a legal document copied and photostated. A death certificate verifying the fact that the girl had died on the 20th day of the month. A medical report attached to the certificate named the cause of death as leukemia. I had copies of all these legal documents by 10 o'clock the following morning. I even went through the motions of phoning the desk and asking for a bill and making a plane reservation for that night. I had a feeling someone would be very interested to see me take care of all those things, and I was right. The big blonde man with the .38 happened to be in one corner of the lobby when I paid my bill. He also happened to be at the airport when I picked up my ticket, but then he got careless. I walked through the gate, waited 2 minutes, and slipped back to grab a cab in front, just in time to see him wheel a battered convertible out of the parking lot and head back for town. I followed in my cab. He went to the Ursuline Street address. 2 minutes later, he came out. Expense account, item 14, $8. I let my cab go and strolled up to him just as he was getting in his car. Hiya.
What?
Look, we've been playing games long enough, don't you think? Well?
Why don't you go back to New York and do what you have to do?
Deliver this death certificate? I don't believe it.
You saw her dead, didn't you?
Still don't believe it.
That's too bad, because that's the way it is.
He got in his car, started it up, drove away. I stood there and watched him go. Money, I kept saying to myself. Money. There's money in it somewhere. Plain old money.
Now, here's our star to tell you about the final intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, there's still money in it. More money than it takes to save a life. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by John Dawson. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the final episode of this week's story of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
June 21st, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you for making us a part of your day. Would you thank this radio station and support their advertisers? It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. Would you also remember, if you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available through iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. And you can also visit my webpage. They're all there as well. ClassicRadio.stream. At ClassicRadio.stream, you can stream our shows, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can find all our social media links there. You can also buy me a coffee if you want to. That'll help keep me full of Dr. Pepper, and also will also help me find more great radio shows to bring you. And tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.